Okay,
That's the
well,
problem.
this is what I'm saying.
But
But this is,
yes,
we are under that umbrella.
yes, I believe that there's always going to be a need for any for any group, regardless of race and or, for example, if it's a group for just if it's a space for people living with disabilities. Like I believe that there's always going to be there always will be a need for the space for said group, because they have to experience life together in safety, with safety. So away from all the other groups. So this is not just about white folks now. That when Black people come together and we're together by ourselves, there's a different energy, there's a different feeling, there's a different experience. It's just like when Jamaicans come together, or when like Caribbeans in general come together, right? So yes, there'll always be a need of for singular or particular spaces for particular people. And oftentimes, I guess people forget that it's not just Black people that need that. Or sorry, it's not just Black people that need that, but it literally is only Black people that don't have that. Because again, if you check into the other, I guess, races around us, we have the Asians that go to their own little school after they go to public school. We have the religious, I guess brown people that have their own religion and they do that by themselves separately. Like everyone has like that space where they need, or not even need, where they come together with their own. So it's literally only Black people that seem to not have that. Like we just got an Afrocentric school like yesterday, essentially. You know what I mean?
All right. This to tie this question into that question. Do you think there is a need today for LGBT community as far as socializing?
Yes.
Why?
100%. One, you don't. Okay, for example, when I was growing up in high school, I wasn't the only gay person per se, although they made me feel like that. But then I realized I was the only Black gay person, also, which turned out not to be true. But my teacher in grade 9 brought me to, and I'll never forget it because I didn't even understand it then. But my teacher in grade 9 brought me to the 519, and it was like a coming out group, and I was literally the only Black person in the room. And like I felt like in retrospect, like looking back, I felt like I didn't belong, but it wasn't just because of like I wasn't even thinking about race. Like it wasn't just because of that, but like there was no one in the room that said the things or experienced the things the way I experienced them. So this, though, like what you're asking now is it touches on representation and how and why it matters. So for me, being the only Black kid in this room full of white people, I didn't quite get what they were talking about. Like they were talking about how their parents, like, you know, they came out to the parents and, you know, their parents are talking to them about it and things like that. I'm like, I couldn't tell Brenda anything about being gay at this point in time, right? Like that was not a thing. But when I became a facilitator of a youth group for queer youth, specifically queer youth of color, I then started to hear things that I understood. Like we can't tell our parents, like we have to not be gay. Like then I started to hear. So then I understood or better understood, and then I felt more comfortable. So it's important that, again, like seeing someone like you, looking like you, talking like you, saying things that you understand is very important. So yes, there will always be a need for spaces like that, because again, when we're out in the world, literally, we're surrounded by whiteness. And even if we're not conscious of it, it's the umbrella of everything around us, right? So it's important.
Now that you have been in Toronto for so many years, and I've gotten to know you very well, and a lot of your friends and stuff like that, and I didn't need to make an excuse for me being at the party or at the ball, even though most of the time I just felt I'm old. I know I'll dance a little bit, but I can't do all of that, and I ain't really interested. I'm just more interested in the experience and just being around people that I know and I like and I care about, and being around community in general. Now, what have you found the most difficult for you as an LGBTQ two-spirit, all these things here wearing me out. But how have you found, where do you think your voice needs to be heard?
Needs to be heard, or where it's heard? What was the
Well,
difference?
or just where it's heard. Who's
Um,
listening to TKO Monroe? Who's listening to you when you're doing your events? When you're
so my
doing your
audience,
sociology, your psychology? Who's listening to you?
my audience, I believe at this point, because I've been doing this for what am I saying? I've been doing this for like 12 years now, 12, 13,
Mhm.
13 years now. So I've been a public speaker. I don't necessarily think I'm an activist. I think I'm very conscious of what's going on around me. So therefore, I take part. But um, I so from that perspective, yeah, I don't believe I'm an activist per se, but I do things that activism would
Okay.
look.
Now,
Sorry,
just
I'm more of an advocate. There we go.
oh, okay. There's a difference.
Yes, for me, it's about.
Okay.
Thank you. That's a really good question. I'm cluing in for myself now. So for me, it's really about making sure everyone's voice is heard.
Okay.
Um, so I don't really care. I'm not here to champion necessarily for any one particular person. Because for me, it's all like any injustice is an injustice. Like we're all, it's no
Mhm.
one's winning. So at best, I want everyone, or for me, it's about understanding. Even if it's in the smallest amount. And if the understanding happens to just be that we're just going to disagree because we don't understand, then that's fine as well. We don't have to agree. We don't have to necessarily like each other. Like it's not a thing. Like there's no reason for that, right? So yeah, I'm here. I'm a champion of people speaking up for themselves, and within reason, of course, I guess.
Mhm.
And I find that because of that, I do a lot of listening. So I only speak when I feel that, or most times when people ask me to. But I believe though that my voice is heard across because I guess my market, not just my market, but like I've done so many things over the years that
Mhm.
I have a wider audience,
Okay,
not just black, not just
just a couple of more questions, and then we're going to close it up. Now, do you think us, the Black community,
Mhm.
do you think we are actually welcomed into the community, or do we have to push, shove? What do you think about that?
We're not welcomed, one, and two, we haven't pushed and shoved enough, if that's the case. Which is what I was saying before. Like when you get to Church Street, there's an assimilation that happens. There's like the message is clear, and you either conform or you
Mhm.
don't. And some people, the thing, and this is what's actually really, really annoying to me about Church Street. It's not even the whiteness
Mhm.
or the white people. It's literally the black people who don't seem to like. They can't really let go of their blackness because it's there, but then they're not really white, and they can't really be white. So it's like this thing where they're like half this, half that, and it's like this annoying thing that just to watch. For me, it's just
Okay,
annoying.
now I'm going to ask you just a couple of questions in closing that I think nobody has addressed. And I think you, because you're from there, you say you're from Jamaica.
Mhm.
Now, coming from Jamaica, and the majority of the people in Jamaica
Homophobic.
don't like
They're
gays.
homophobic. Yeah, yeah, you can
Now,
say it.
now, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now, I'm trying not to tiptoe around it, but I'm trying to
right.
say
I'm
it
like, they're
right.
homophobic. It's okay.
Yeah. Now, what do you think this, do you think the people in Jamaica are marching for this man, George Floyd?
I believe they actually had there was rumor because I didn't see it. Um, but I am under the impression that there was a slight uh march or something of that nature.
Mhm.
But I do not know personally. But I wouldn't be surprised because again, due to heteronormatives and just Jamaicans in general being so homophobic, I believe that this is something that they would definitely march for because why not?
Mhm. Okay, I just wanted to know your opinion because I really wanted to understand use some black countries or black communities within a black community, and you see very few white people or let's just say people of different color
Mhm.
within certain places like Jamaica or St. Martin or
But you see,
Trinidad, just other places.
with the islands now, apparently, well, from my understanding, at least how people make it sound, like the islands now are now being taken over by
Mhm.
Asians. So this whole mixing is happening regardless of whether we want it to or not.
Okay, now that you said that,
Mhm.
what do you feel like there is a race shift in Toronto?
What do you mean by race shift?
Like, do you think there's a shift of power, identifying us all as Canadian, but yet the face we see the most in
Right.
this country that we didn't see before is Asian?
Hmm. So I guess no, I don't see that. One. But with me saying no, that's probably actually lies. I can't even contextualize that because I actually do pay attention to these things, sociology. I can't help it. No, I don't. I do not think that there's, let's say, an influx of more races than white. But if
Oh,
there is, it's probably because the minority actually is the majority. So it wouldn't be surprising.
okay. Now, just in closing,
Mhm.
just a couple more.
Yeah, again,
Do
no
you
rush.
see a positive future for the Black LGBT pronoun two-spirited
Mhm,
community?
mhm, mhm, mhm. Well, okay, so that question is kind of loaded, but um, for me, the simple fact that we're alive is awesome, period.
Yeah.
So when you say better, do you mean better in terms of like what? Like in terms of
No,
rights?
I want to
Or
know your opinion because you're young. So it's different for me because I'm older and I'm sort of
yeah, but
set in my ways. But I want to understand young people's the future. What you think the future is? What do you think that you want to happen? Do you see some positive thing happen? Do you see Travoy having the best job? Do you see Travoy opening his own clubs? Do you see Travoy
but
having his voice heard within a
okay, so
community that's been where he's been muted for so many years?
now again, I can't necessarily speak to that experience because that is not my experience. Travoy already has the best job, and Travoy
Okay.
is not letting the system hold him down.
Mhm.
But that's a personal choice for myself. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you mean by in the future, or a better future, if you mean, do I not want to have a system so that the people after me don't have to be fighting the same fight that Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were fighting? Yes, I definitely can see that. I would love that. Hopefully before I die. I'd love to see that. But if I don't see that, and if that isn't the change that we have, I just hope we don't go backwards to a place where, like in Canada, where they now criminalize, like legally criminalize, like being gay.
Okay.
So in my mind, like we're not at the bestest place, but we're definitely not at the worstest place. So in the
Well,
future, yeah.
coming from the States and being here as long as I have, I must say I've had my ups and downs here in Canada, but I say
Mhm.
overall, like anybody else that's a citizen, and the mere fact that I am alive, I'm healthy, and Canada has taken great care of me, so I have nothing but respect for this country. Now, but of course, every country has its issues.
Just like every
Now,
people.
but where I live is the country that I'm more concerned about because
Indeed,
this is where I live.
indeed.
So now you, Travoy,
Mhm.
have so much that you've done. What are you actually doing now? What are you
Right
doing?
now, I'm pretending to quarantine and um, the government money because the government, for the first time
That's
in my
very
entire
funny.
life,
That sounds
the,
like something I would say.
for the first time in my entire life, the government has offered me money to survive.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
I'm definitely taking that money and
mhm,
relaxing and chilling, which is what I normally do anyways. The only
mhm,
difference is I actually have booked some gigs, some of these Zoom things, which I find
mhm.
so annoying. But I'm actually just relaxing. Like I plugged out of the matrix a long time ago. Like I'm not a 9 to 5er. I don't like get up and go to work, and I don't do that stuff. That's for the.
Well, you know, oh, okay.
I'm chilling. I'm living my best life.
Well, you know, I want to just say it's been great talking to you. I miss you because you're always so straight up and straight out honest with Mama. And we always have the best time. And you just tell me just the way it is. And that's what I like. And I'm glad I had you on today because you're just real. And like I said, in many of my videos, I connect to people that are just real. And no matter how bad the situation is, if you're just real, a good outcome somehow always pans out. So I just want to say thank you today for giving us your view on the Black and Black issues within our community and many other communities.
Yes.
And the fact that hopefully somewhere along the line, we will learn something from all of this, from the corona, to being isolated, lonely, to being selfish towards each other.
That's why Corona and me couldn't get along.
And somewhere along the line, there will be a good answer out of all of this for all of us. And somehow we will understand that we are all human beings, period.
Yes.
And I just hope that this protest and this pandemic has taught us a really good lesson. Because if we go through this again, we won't survive. We won't. I mean, we're fighting the good fight.
Again,
we're fighting the good fight.
We're still fighting the fight that they were fighting in the 60s again. We're obviously fighting. Either we're fighters or something's got to give.
Okay, I'm just gonna. I like to say this because to me you are young. So what do you think? What advice or what do you think is gonna happen from all this? Like, what do you hope will happen?
Honestly, like I said, as a sociologist, or how my brain works, like normally I'm a Virgo, so I like to look at situations from all aspects, like a holistic view. So for me, the big picture is that there has to be some change. That's what I see. As for what the change is, like I said, for me, this is the first time, well, for all of us, but like specifically for me, like I'm so locked in everything that's happening on Twitter, on Facebook, although I hate Facebook, but on Facebook, like all the marches, all the protests, because like I said, for me, we are literally living in what could literally be the New World Order, what could be history in the making or history as it's being made. So we're right now a part of history. So it's really, really not like it's really up in the air, if anything, because it can go any way, anywhere. I mean, Corona came and hit everybody and no one expected that. And now we have the riots at which everyone seems to think are dying down, but really and truly, maybe people are just taking time to organize, or, we spent the last 2 weeks rioting. Maybe we need a break, maybe we need to sleep. Like it can go anywhere. But what we have noticed, or what has happened, is that people are talking about racism yet again, anti-Blackness. The police are in certain spaces and places. Police are, again, exposing themselves. And for better or for worse, in I think it's in DC, I don't remember what city, but they have actually come up with a way. They have come up with this 8-step plan to how to make the police better. So like so many, like the discourse of this is crazy, and I'm sorry, not crazy. The discourse of this is a lot, and I don't even know what I want. I just know that I don't want this. So I'm excited to be on the right side of history.